guys, I am here to talk to you today about creating a pricing guide. What we'll do today is just do a quick walkthrough of where you can find a really cheap pricing guide template, how you can edit the images to become yours, and how to create those pages of the guide into a PDF that you can email to your portrait clients and wedding clients. So the first thing I want to talk about is Squidue. Squidue is a $10 a month design, I guess, template website. You can download a million different things from here. You can also find discounts all the time for 50% off. So if you don't want to spend $10 a month, you can spend $5 a month. If you don't think you'll ever use Squidue again, just download everything that looks good to you, looks useful to you in a month, and then cancel it if you want to. But they have some great pricing guides in here. So what we'll do is we'll look at marketing tools, magazines, and here are lots of different guides. Don't be discouraged if you love the way one guide looks, but you don't do weddings, you do portraits. These images become yours and these words become yours. So this could turn into seniors if you wanted it to. If you loved this for weddings, of course, just take out 2017 if you want to. Put a picture of a bride and groom right here. And instead of saying senior portraits, brides, wedding clients, whatever you want it to be. I'm a fan of this one because it's so simple. So you can kind of look through and see what you're going to get in your download. Pricing guides give you the opportunity to really sell yourself and discuss your entire, expectation from start to finish of what the client can expect from you. You can talk about yourself. You can sell your prints and your products. You can talk about turnaround time. You can talk about what the session includes, how it's going to go, things like that. And then near the back, after your potential client has already fallen in love with you and justified whatever it's going to be, you can put your pricing. So here you'll download it. This will become a zip folder in your downloads folder. So you'll just extract that however you do on your computer, and it opens up in Photoshop. It also comes with instructions on how to kind of walk through, but I'll do the same with you. So each page in the guide becomes a separate tab in Photoshop. The text, you'll double click to make your own, blah, 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 blah. The images you will place over these picture masks right here. And you'll have instructions on this when you download from Squidue, but I'll go ahead and show you. To cover their stock images with your own image, File, Place Embedded, upload one of your own photos. And over here, I'm going to turn the eye off on the stock photo. Come on. There we go. Right click. Create clipping mask. That means that this image will only be present in the picture mask right here. So I'm just going to move it around. Obviously it's a horizontal image, so it's not going to work so well on here, but whatever, it's pretty. So just kind of play around and replace their pictures with your pictures. Use their text as a guide, and then obviously change it up to be your text. Here's the pricing page. Just make all of this your own. When you are done and all of your pages look good to you, you will click File, Automate, PDF Presentation. Add Open Files, and this will give you all of the tabs. You'll rearrange them. I always advise saving them by page number, just so that when you get to this step, you can see really, really easily how to number all of these. I'm just dragging them around basically until they are all in number order. From here, I'll click Save. I've already saved it as an example right here, but I'll just do example 2. Compression. Go down from maximum to high to make your file size a little bit smaller. Save PDF. This will take a minute or so, so I'll go ahead and show you what a final one will look like. So here's mine. Talks a lot about me. I put a table of contents in here. Basically just like selling myself, looking to establish a connection with whoever is reading it, winning them over with images, talking about what to expect from me, talking a little bit about planning, giving them a little bit of expectation about an engagement session, selling my albums, giving an album discount, pulling the hearts with emotions and crying, and a little bit more emotion and crying because I'm about to have to give them my pricing. Here it is. Starts at the highest and goes down to the bottom. This is an old guide, so these numbers aren't current, but you can see it anyway. Everything in my new guide is the same, but the pricing is different. So I've got my 3 collections, and I lay them out from the highest to the cheapest for the sole purpose of when a client looks at the lowest and it only gets higher, the brain kind of goes from a little bit disappointed to even more disappointed to even more disappointed. Whereas this way, when you do it from the highest to the lowest, they can have that initial sticker shock, and then they can say, oh, okay, it's getting better. Okay, this is doable, and they're feeling okay. As opposed to reading this and it's only getting worse, if that makes sense. I lay out the collection options. I've got a little a la carte section here, and then I just end saying, let me know if you want to talk. That's basically my bridal guide, and I send that to all my clients. And if you don't already have a bridal guide, not all of my clients, but all of my inquiries, if you don't have a bridal guide or a portrait guide, I definitely suggest that you make one, and you're not just sending your pricing over via, just regular text in an email. This costs you $5 on Squidoo, a couple hours of your time, and then boom, you've got a cohesive, beautifully branded, high-end looking pricing guide for yourself too. If you guys want to pop these pricing guides into the group to have extra eyes on it for grammatical errors or to just look over for anything you may have overlooked, feel free to post them. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. But I would love for all of us to definitely get started on working on some pricing guides and creating those nice presentations for our sessions and our weddings. All right, thanks guys. Hey, so today I am just going to make a quick video of how to do a batch conversion from RAW files to JPEG files, and how to batch rename those JPEG files. And I also wanted to talk about a few keyboard shortcuts that I didn't mention last time that might save you some time. Of course, you can't see me, and I think that's something that I forget about sometimes, and I'm just doing things on the keyboard, and I'm realizing that you can't see me on the keyboard. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I'm doing some quick things and how you can just duplicate that. So the first thing I want to tell you is if you hit the control button on your keyboard, and if you have a mouse wheel like I do, rolling that wheel up and down will make these smaller or larger. Just a fun fact. And if you want to have a folder show up in your favorites, which is always just going to be quick access, you can just click it with your mouse and drag it over. I always have what I have to edit right here. Otherwise, I will get kind of sidetracked, forget what I have going on, and it goes in order of what's due next. So this is the wedding that was prior to this wedding, so things like that. So let's go ahead and batch convert and batch rename. So I've edited all of these raw files. What I'm going to do is click, and I want to select them all. The easiest way for me to do that is to click the top one and then hold down the shift key and click the bottom one. Now it tells me that all of them are selected. I'll come up to Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor, let Photoshop open up. So the box comes up, and I always save in the same location, and I always save as a JPEG, and I always save the quality at 9, and I always convert to sRGB. Long story short, if you don't have this checked, you could have some wonky looking colors at the end of this, just from people looking on different devices that may not be looking at sRGB. So just always have them on sRGB. This, honestly, no clue what it is. Check it anyway, because not sure. If I wanted to make these file size smaller, I would resize to fit whatever specifications I want to have, but I send my clients the full size files. If I wanted to limit them to print up to 8 by 10 or something like that, that's when I would come up here and make some restrictions, but I don't do that, so I'm just going to click Run. So this will take a couple seconds for each photo to load in Photoshop and then save itself as a JPEG and then show up in this folder. This wasn't here before, but now it is. I'm going to make these smaller just because these are too big for me. So you can click JPEG and you can watch them come in one by one. For an entire wedding of like 600-ish photos, this process takes like an hour and a half. So it's a good thing to just launch and then walk away from, or do your emails, whatever. Watching this is like watching water boil, because as you can see, each photo is going to take about 5 seconds. So I mean, you multiply that by however many images you're going to need to convert. It could be a while. So once this is done, here's a little trick. I always wonder while I'm doing something else, is it done? Is it over? If you hover your mouse over the Photoshop icon, you can get a live preview of what's happening. You'll know that it's over because when you hover over this, it's going to have a list of what it's done right here, just like that. Wonderful timing. So if I'm doing my emails or something and I'm not looking in Bridge, I can just hover over this, and when I see that list, that means it's completely done. So I can open up my JPEG folder, and now they're all here as JPEGs. Now, in the workflow that I would do for a wedding, how I talked about the star ratings, I would check my 5 stars right here and assess anything that had a 5-star rating, because if I put it at a 5-star rating, that means there's something on this that I need to look at in Photoshop. Something needs to be fixed. I can tell what that is here. The reason I marked this as 5 stars is because I can see this hanging off in the background, and I'm just going to Photoshop that out real quick. I'll do it with you. The right bracket on your keyboard makes your area that you're working with larger, and the spot heel is not my friend today, so I'm going in with the clone stamp. Go away. There we go. Oh wow, nope. My computer is lagging, so you'll have to forgive me. Okay, we're all done. Alt F is what I have assigned to save my image so that I don't have to click anything. And now I get to come back into my stars. I'm hitting the number 1 on my keyboard to let me know I am done with that fix. It is no longer a 5-star image. So now I have no 5 stars. That means all these JPEGs are done and ready to go. I'm going to click the first, shift click the last, tools, batch rename. If I don't want to reorder these, I will click batch rename. But I normally reorder some things. I'll keep earrings with earrings. I'll keep a ring with a ring, things like that. So just to kind of play around with these a little bit, show you the difference. Now they're out of order. We're going to click them all, and we're going to batch rename. Preset default, because I have never clicked this drop down. I don't know what any of that is. Rename in the same folder. Yes, I don't want to move these. I don't want duplicates. I just want it to be happening right here. So here's where you have the text, and you put your person's last name or whatever you want it to be. Here's a preview of what it's going to end up looking like. I always have weddings that are more than 100 images. Weddings with more than 100 images have 3 digits, so I choose 3 digits. If I do a session and it's less than 100 images, I'm going to do 2 digits. Obviously 1 to 99 would be 2. I always start on the number 1, and if you want to add anything, you can. You can add dates. You can add a whole different word if you want to. I don't see the point in that. I just want to keep it simple. Roberts 1, Roberts 2, Roberts 3. That's all I want to do. So we're just going to click rename. I will warn you that if you have an older computer, batch rename in chunks of like 50 to 75, because if you try to batch rename 600 files and your computer's already kind of on the struggle bus, it's going to freeze a lot. And I don't want that to happen to you. So just do small chunks. And if you end up having too big of a chunk and it freezes, just know that that's probably a little bit too hard for your computer to do at one time. I never batch rename all of my wedding images at one time. I split them up into like chunks of 200 or so. And sometimes I will test it and say to myself, it'll be fine. What's going to happen? And it does freeze. So I have to restart the program, go back to open up what I was doing, go back to reorder them how I liked them because it didn't save. So just know that if it ends up not working out, all you have to do is go in smaller batches. But for sessions, anything under 100, I'm just going to go for it. I've never had a problem over 100. And my computer's a few years old. So if your computer's new, you probably don't even have to worry about this at all. So that's how we batch rename. That's how we batch convert. From here, if I were to upload into ShootProof, I would highlight all of these. There's my shift button again. I would open up ShootProof. Start a new gallery, create, add photos, and then I would make this window a little bit smaller so that I could just click and drag. And there we go. Once this is uploaded, I would just share it with my client from the share button right here, email link, type up my people, pick my template. There we go, done. So that's batch converting and batch renaming. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.